Welcome back, dear students and friends. We were discussing chapter number 2, sexual reproduction in flowering plant. We have discussed many topics in sexual reproduction in flowering plants, and today we go ahead with two important topics, and these are very important topics. One is apomixis and the second one is polyembryony. Let's start with the first topic called as apomixis. Before I start this topic apomixis, just we revise what are the post-fertilization events. In a post-fertilization, that means after fertilization what is going to happen? The zygote which is going to be formed at the result of fertilization, that zygote converts to an embryo. Clear? Second, the PEN, primary endosperm nucleus, which is formed, that converts to an endosperm. Along with this process, the ovule which is present in the ovary, that converts to a seed by fertilization, and the ovary converts into a fruit. Okay, so here after fertilization this process occurs. The conversion of ovule into a seed is a result of fertilization. Similarly, the conversion of ovary into a fruit is also a result of fertilization. So the certain changes which is going to be happen. But now that is what happens in a normal circumstances. Here now today we are discussing a special form of a reproduction. What we call it as apomixis. What's called as apomixis. So it's clear to all of you that it is a special type of reproduction in which the seeds are produced without fertilization. Clear the term? What is an apomixis? The apomixis is a special form of a reproduction in which the seeds are produced without fertilization. Usually in angiosperm, the seed is produced as a result of fertilization. Ovule gets converted to a seed with the help of a fertilization. But it's a apomixis, it's a special type of reproduction in which the seeds are produced without fertilization. Okay? So that's why it is called as a special form of reproduction. How it occurs, that we are discussing. Where it is reported? It is reported into a certain species of plants. Like it is observed into an Asteraceae and it is observed in grass family of a plant. Okay, so these are the usual examples of plants which shows apomixis. Okay, so in which family it shows? It is observed in Asteraceae and grass family. Okay, students. Now, if you want to define, the general meaning of apomixis. What happens in apomixis? It's a kind of reproduction. Here the seeds are produced. Seeds are produced without fertilization. That is called as an apomixis. But if you want to clearly define what is an apomixis, then what is apomixis? It is a type of asexual form of reproduction. Which kind of reproduction? Asexual form of reproduction that means promotes sexual reproduction in plant. Okay, so this is an asexual form of reproduction that mimics or promotes a sexual reproduction in a plant. This is called as apomixis. Okay, so if you see here, it's like an asexual, means there is no fusion of gametes. Okay, but still the seed is produced and some of the characteristic of seed is going to be transferred. So that's why it is called as an asexual mode of reproduction, but that mimics a sexual reproduction in a plant. Means certain activity takes place which look like a sexual reproduction. Okay, so this is called as apomixis. The plant, that it is observed in Asteraceae and grass family of a plant. So the plants which shows apomixis, they are called as apomictic plants. What they are called as? Apomictic plants. Okay, students. So this is a general information regarding the apomixis. What is an apomixis? Apomixis is a special form of reproduction in which seeds are produced without fertilization. Okay, it is observed in only a limited or specific species, like it's observed in Asteraceae and Grasses family. Third, it is asexual mode of reproduction that mimics the sexual reproduction in a plant. And the plant which shows the apomixis, this is called as apomictic plants. So the plants which shows the apomixis, they are called as apomictic plants. Okay, but what are the different types of producing apomixis, or how the apomictic plants they generate a new living being by this special form of reproduction? There are different ways by which the apomixis can take place in a different varieties of a plant. The first way of apomixis, you can call it as generative apospory. Generative apospory. Second one is called as somatic apospory. Third, it's called as haploid parthenogenesis. And the fourth, it's called as haploid apogamy. So these are the four different types of apomixis: generative apospory, somatic apospory, haploid parthenogenesis, and haploid apogamy. Clear? So here how the process occurs. In generative apospory, the diploid embryo, remember, diploid embryo is formed from diploid archisporium. Okay, or you can say that it is from diploid egg cell. Usually egg cell is haploid N, but here that is diploid. Okay, and from that diploid egg cell, without fertilization, a diploid embryo is going to be formed. This type of apomixis is called as generative apospory. Okay. Now the second type of apomixis, it's called as somatic apospory. In somatic apospory, the diploid embryo is formed. But this diploid embryo is formed from diploid cells of nucellus or integument. You know that what is an integument? Integument, that means it's a covering of an ovule, or the nucellus, that is the inside the integument what is present is a nucellus, a filled with a reserve food material. That cells involves in the formation of a diploid embryo. Such kind of apomixis is called as somatic apospory. Clear? So again repeat, what is generative apospory? In generative apospory, diploid embryo is formed from diploid archisporium or diploid egg cell. In somatic apospory, diploid embryo is formed from diploid cells of nucellus or integuments. Okay, so this is called as somatic apospory. Okay, next, here before we start the other two, see in this one, diploid archisporium produces a diploid, means the chromosome number remains the same. Or here, the diploid cell produces the diploid embryo, means the chromosome number remains the same. Means it does not involve meiosis, and that is the significance or advantage of apomixis. Here it doesn't leads to a formation of a meiosis or gametes. Okay, reductional cell division does not occur. So you can also consider it as an advantage, you can also consider it as a disadvantage. Okay, that we will see why it is called as an advantage and why it is called as a disadvantage. We will see it in a significance of apomixis. Okay, but you have to remember, in these two, the meiosis process does not take place. Chromosome number remains the same. Diploid generates diploid, diploid generates a diploid. Okay. Next, a third type of apomixis is called as a haploid parthenogenesis. What is a haploid parthenogenesis? Haploid parthenogenesis, that means here the embryo is going to be formed, or seed is formed from unfertilized egg. From where it's going to be produced? Unfertilized egg. The unfertilized egg that leads to a generation of it, and this is called as haploid parthenogenesis. Okay, and the last one it's called as a haploid apogamy. Here the development occurred from other cells of embryo sac. It is developed from the other cells of embryo sac. Okay, the process is occurs. It's called as a haploid apogamy. But it should not include the cells of nucellus or integuments. Clear? These cells are not involved in this process. The other cells of embryo sac, like you can say a cell of synergic cell, synergy, a cell of antipodals, they involve in the formation of it. This is called as haploid apogamy. So clear? These are the four different types of apomixis: generative apospore, somatic apospore, haploid parthenogenesis, and haploid apogamy. In generative apospore, diploid embryo is formed from diploid archisporium or diploid egg cell. In somatic apospore, the diploid embryo is formed from diploid cells of nucellus or integuments. In haploid parthenogenesis, it is formed from unfertilized egg. In haploid apogamy, it is formed from the other cells of embryo sac, but not the cells of nucellus or integument. This is called as haploid apogamy. The first two processes does not involve the meiosis process. So these are the different types of apomixis or different forms of apomixis. Now, what is the importance of this apomixis or apomictic plants? The importance of this, why we are discussing this special form of reproduction? Here there is no process called as meiosis. Hence, there is no segregation. Segregation means separation, and recombination of character. Clear? Usually in sexual reproduction, this segregation and recombination process easily takes place, and that is the advantage of sexual reproduction. But here it is a kind of asexual reproduction, or it does not involve some meiosis process. So the segregation and the recombination, the process does not occur. Segregation means a separation of characters, and the recombination means generation of new character. That does not happen. And so that's why this is an advantage of apomixis plant. Okay, as the segregation and the recombination process does not occur, the characters are maintained from generation to a generation. That's what we need. Okay, the exact characters, because it's a kind of asexual reproduction, so the exact characters are maintained over a generation to a generation. This is a second advantage of this apomixis. Okay, so that's all about the apomixis, a very important short note which is going to be asked. Okay, so again repeat in very brief, and then we will go ahead. So what is called as an apomixis? Apomixis is a special form of reproduction in which seeds are produced without fertilization. It is observed in which plant? It's observed in Asteraceae and grasses family. You can also call it as a kind of asexual reproduction that mimics sexual reproduction in a plant. And the plant which produces by apomixis, they are called as apomictic plants. These are the four different types of apomixis: generative apospore, somatic apospore, haploid parthenogenesis, and haploid apogamy. And the significance is that the characters are maintained exactly same over generation to a generation. No segregation, no recombinations due to a lack of meiosis process, and hence it is an advantage of apomixis, because these characters are utilized during plant breeding and a generation of a new species. So it's going to be used by breeders, plant breeders. They utilize this process to produce the desired characters in a plant. Okay, so this is called as a apomixis. Now all of you know that what is an apomixis? It's a formation of seed without fertilization. Clear? Formation of a seed without fertilization. Similarly, you also should know a term what we have learned in the last session. What is a formation of fruit without fertilization? What it is called? It is called as parthenogenesis. What it is called? It's called as parthenogenesis. So do not get confused between these two terms. These two terms are the different one. Okay. So what is apomixis? It's a production of seed without fertilization. What is parthenogenesis? It's a production of fruit without fertilization. So both process occurs without fertilization, apomixis as well as parthenogenesis. But in apomixis, the seeds are produced without fertilization. In parthenogenesis, fruits are produced without fertilization. And in normal circumstances, seeds and fruit, they are result of fertilization. But this is a special form. Okay, like you know that parthenogenesis is observed in banana plant or banana. Banana can be produced by parthenogenesis without fertilization of fruit. Okay, so that's about apomixis, a very important short note that may are going to be asked. Okay, now we also discuss another most important short note, and that is called as polyembryony. So this is again a very short note, and this is important, polyembryony. Usually it is going to be asked, what is polyembryony? You know that meaning of poly. Poly means many. Embryo means it's embryo. Clear? So it is a process of formation of more than one embryo. Clear? So what is called as a polyembryony? It is process of formation of more than one embryo. Okay, so here many embryo are going to be formed. This process is called as polyembryony. Usually in normal circumstances only one embryo is going to be formed in an ovule. But here this is a special case where many embryo are going to be formed in this one. This is called as polyembryony. Which plant shows the polyembryony? Usually the polyembryony that is observed in gymnosperms like conifers. In gymnosperm it is observed in conifers. Apart from that, it is also observed in angiosperms. That means a flowering plants. Okay. In angiosperm, they are observed in citrus, means like lemon. It is observed in orange. It is also observed in groundnut. It is also observed in mango. Clear? So here they are observed in gymnosperm as well as angiosperm. In gymnosperm, it is observed in conifers. In angiosperm, it's observed in citrus like lemon, orange, groundnut, mango. Where you can find more than one embryo. You just open the lemon or you just open the orange. You can find the many embryo inside it. Okay? And what this phenomena is called as? This phenomena is called as polyembryony. That means they produces more than one embryo. Why this is going to happen? What is the reason? Why it happens? Or what's the reason for production of more than one embryo? Usually one embryo is formed, but these are the cases where more than one embryo is formed. So what is the reason to produces more than one embryo in these cases? The first reason, there are many reasons for production of polyembryony. The first reason for production of polyembryony is that they contains more than one egg cell in a embryo sac. Usually every embryo sac has one egg cell. Female gamete is a one in one embryo sac. But here there is a presence of more than one egg cell in embryo sac. So whatever the number of egg cell, that much number of embryos are going to form. Okay. Or the second reason, Usually ovule contains a one embryo sac, but here they possess more than one embryo sac in ovule. This is the second reason. Okay, so usually one ovule contains one embryo sac, but if there is a presence of more than one embryo sac in an ovule, then this is called as, that may leads to a polyembryony. And the third reason, normally the embryo is formed from the egg cell. Egg cell gets fertilized with a male gamete and that results into a zygote, and zygote leads to formation of embryo. That what happens. Okay, and normally one embryo is formed because there is only a one egg cell. Okay, but here that indicates that the egg cells are involved in formation of embryo. But apart from egg cells, the embryo sac also contains the other cells like cells of synergy. So synergy cells or antipodal cells, which is formed or present at the chalaza, they form extra embryo. Usually the embryo is formed from egg cell, but here the synergy cell and the antipodal cells, that involves in a formation of one more embryo or extra embryo. That is reason for polyembryony. So these are the three reasons why polyembryony occurs. The polyembryony occurs that may be due to one egg cell, more than one egg cell in an embryo sac, or more than one embryo sac in an ovule, or there is a presence of, or there is an involvement of synergy and antipodal cell to form extra embryo, and that leads to a polyembryony. This polyembryony has a most importance. What is its significance? So it has more significance in plant breeding techniques, and it is also involved in horticulture. Means where the plants are produced with the help of tissues. Okay, so it has very important role in plant breeding techniques and horticulture. Okay, so that's all about a very short note regarding a polyembryony. Okay, again repeat, what's a polyembryony? Polyembryony means formation of more than one embryo. This is called as polyembryony. Here, where it is observed in both gymnosperm as well as angiosperm. In gymnosperm, it's observed in conifers. In angiosperm, it is observed in citrus like lemon, orange, groundnut, mango. Why it occurs? It occurs due to a production of more than one egg cell in embryo sac, or more than one embryo sac in an ovule, or the involvement of synergy cell and antipodal cell to form an extra embryo. And what is its importance? That's important in plant breeding techniques as well as horticulture method. So today we have discussed the two methods. One is called as apomixis and the second one is called as polyembryony. Both are important short notes which can be asked. Okay, so that's all about the chapter number 2, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay, so students, learn it very properly. It's an important chapter which is related to an examination point of view. Now I will tell you a few new things which is not present in your NCERT book, but it is important regarding to NEET examinations or the MCQ examinations. Okay, so you have to remember what it is. You just have to remember these examples because it can be asked in a NEET examination. It might not going to be asked in your regular board examinations, but it may be asked in your NEET examination. So you know that the seeds are produced and seeds are produced with the help of fertilization of ovules. Now, once the seeds are produced and that seed is produced within a fruit, the seed gets dispersed, means it gets released from fruit. And from that seed, if a proper conditions like temperature, water, sunlight, if it is provided, then it produces again one more plant. This is what commonly happens. Okay. But for the dispersal of a seed, for release of seed, certain plants develop a specific mechanism for dispersal of seed. So we just learned the examples of plant which has developed a special mechanism for dispersal of seed or release of a seed from a fruit. Okay. For dispersal of a seed, many plants develop a special structure. Remember, for dispersal of a seed, the plants develop a special structure. And which plant develops a which structure, that example you have to remember. In different plant, different types of structures might going to be developed, and that is important regarding to an MCQ point of view. So, a structure called as papers. I am writing the structure over here. Or this is a mechanism for dispersal of seed. Okay, and this is an example in which plant such structure or mechanism has been developed. The papers is observed in case of Vernonia plant. Clear? Next, a plant develops a coma for dispersal of seed, and that coma is observed in Calotropis. Which plant? Calotropis plant develops a coma for dispersal of a seed. Okay. Third, next, they also develop a stiff hairs. Stiff hairs, that is observed in Xanthium plant. In which plant? Xanthium plant. Okay. Next, hairy outgrowth. Hair-like structures which are going to be developed for dispersal of seed, and that is observed in cotton plant. Okay. Some plant also develop a hook-like structure. And that is observed in Martinia. In which plant it is observed? Martinia. And some plant have mechanical dispersal or mechanism dispersal, and that is observed in Ruellia plant. Okay, Ruellia. So these are the examples. They develop a special structure for dispersal of a seed, or they develop a special mechanism for dispersal of seed. Like papers is developed in Vernonia, coma is developed in Calotropis, stiff hairs are developed in Xanthium plant, hairy outgrowth is reported in cotton, hook-like structure can be found in Martinia, and mechanism dispersal is found in Ruellia. And these are the structures which are developed in specific plants for dispersal of a seed. So you have to remember these examples for MCQ point of view. Okay, it is not given in book, so note it down very properly. Okay, so that's all about the chapter number 2, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. If you have any doubt regarding any topic of this chapter number 2, feel free to ask me at any time. Okay, thank you for watching. Okay, keep learning, like and subscribe this channel. Okay, thank you once again.